Patrick Williams, you mentioned him. The Bulls, I think you probably have said they're really high on him, but implicitly, the lack of like trade rumors tied to him this summer, that just implies that they're super high
Right.
on him.
Yeah.
Is he like, aside, I guess, from Lonzo's health, is he now the biggest swing piece on this team aside from that? And then aside from his own availability, which has been an issue for him, what is like the biggest thing the Bulls need to see from him this year?
First of all, biggest swing piece besides Lonzo, I would say absolutely yes. Clearly, as you mentioned, like they have a lot of faith in him. He was this front office's first high lottery pick, number 4. And with these trade rumors, like there was stuff at the last deadline, like, oh, should the Bulls trade Patrick Williams for like Jeremy Grant, Harrison Barnes? Seems like that is not something they ever entertained. Like we talked about it, we thought like, hey, maybe that might be a decent idea when the Bulls were top of the East. Like Patrick Williams isn't playing, like maybe they can go ahead and prove in 4, and maybe they will be a contender. Doesn't sound like, based on the reporting out there, that was something they ever considered, like Jeremy Grant or anything like that. And then this offseason was the Rudy Gobert stuff. And like it seemed like they weren't really sure or in on including him for Rudy Gobert. Honest, it did not come down to Patrick Williams. I don't think the Bulls did not have the draft picks to match that kind of capital the Timberwolves gave up, and I don't think they would have. I probably wouldn't have wanted to do that either. But when it seemed like the Bulls might have had a chance, and like there were some rumblings that the Bulls like might be the front runner right now,
And
if they're willing to put like Patrick Williams on the table, and like it doesn't seem like they are, but like maybe they'll ultimately do it. The fact that they were like waffling on it clearly means that they're still very high on him, even though last season was basically a lost season for him, because he had the wrist injury 5 games in. And his rookie season, he showed some nice things, but like, I mean, he certainly was no Scotty Barnes. I mean, Scotty Barnes is like the easy comp, both Florida State guys, kind of similar players as versatile forwards. So like Patrick Williams' rookie season was nowhere near Scotty Barnes' rookie season. So like, just how good is Patrick Williams? And a lot of it might come down to just like the mentality. And that seems to be a big question mark. Does he have the cliche? Does he have that dog in him? And I do not know. He has shown too much hesitation when he plays offensively, at least. Like he certainly has some of the skill set and like the NBA body to be like a really good player. Does he have that in him where he is like, he will go get it, where he will put his imprint on games? Because just too often he floats around in the background, was invisible. And like for such a young guy, I get it. And like last season, when you miss most of the year, like coming back into a playoff race, that's tough. I mean, I don't want to like be too harsh on the guy for like not doing much last season, because he was hurt most of it. He had some moments when he came back. He started to get like the last couple of games against Milwaukee, people point to, he had like I think a couple 20-point games. They were in blowouts. Like, I don't know how much to really take from those, but like he's had his moments and he looks like he could be a good player because he's 6'7", 6'8". He's got like huge hands, huge thighs. I mean, like people like to make the Kawhi stuff just because he kind of looks like him and like kind of moves on him. I don't want to make any Kawhi comparisons because those are ridiculous because how good Kawhi is, but like, if you like squint and like kind of watch him play, it's like you can kind of see like, oh yeah, like I can see why the most optimistic people ever would think maybe there's like a baby Kawhi in there. But like, so like for him on the court this year, he'll definitely be better. I'm pretty confident that. I know he's slimmed down a bit, just get in better shape, to develop his skill set. It'll be interesting to see just how they use him. He talked about how they have a different offense in place. Well, I'm really curious to see how that plays out. Because a lot of the times he's just been used as a floor spacer, and they'll need him to shoot threes. Like he can't be hesitant to shoot open threes. The Bulls need him to shoot open 3-pointers because of the lack of shooting. And he's been a good 3-point shooter in his career. He needs to do that. Would just also love to see him be just more aggressive, taking on more ball handling stuff. So I'm curious also to see like how Billy uses him like with different lineups. And because like there was a lot of stuff last year with like DeMar with like lead bench units, and it'd basically just be him doing his thing with like 4 guys standing around watching him. I'd love to see Patrick Williams get more like opportunities to like handle the ball and like run pick and roll against bench units, whether that's with DeMar or whether that's like maybe him and Zach doing that because DeMar's not as much of an off-ball player. I just love to see a little more Patrick Williams on-ball reps just to help develop him. I mentioned Scotty Barnes again. Scotty Barnes talking about how he's always been a point guard and he loves playing point guard. There was all this stuff about when Patrick Williams came out, like, oh, he like played point guard in high school and like he's got these ball skills. It's like I would sure love to see more of that as opposed to him just standing in the corner and shooting open threes. Even though that will still be just naturally a part of his game when you're playing with DeMar, Zach, and Vooch, and he's going to be a 4th or 5th option offensively. And then defensively, they're going to need him to be a stopper. I mean, he's one of the only wings on this team, only legitimate like 6'7", 6'8" guys, one of their only power forwards. So they're going to need him to be that guy who guards superstar wings. And he's taken on all these assignments already, hit or miss. And obviously for such a young
He was
guy,
good at it his rookie season, I remember
yeah,
being. Maybe it was
he
just
had
'cause
his
the
moments
bar,
like
you know? But yeah.
where he'd slow down, he'd get his stops on Giannis, he'd get his stops on LeBron. He took his beatings too, he took his poundings, but like he took on those battles, and you learn from it. You learn from that stuff, and you just hope that he keeps getting better, and that he could be at some point be that defensive stopper on the wing that basically every really good team needs. So like if you're looking at like stats and stuff like that, I think he averaged like 8 points a game like the last couple of years. Like you hope he adds maybe 5 to 7 to that and can be around like 13 to 15 points a game. Like maybe 15 is even too much, but like to see a bit more usage offensively, a bit more aggressive, and just like being willing to go just like do it. Because I mean there are just moments where like he explodes and it comes out. It's like, where is this guy more often? But then other games where he's just hanging around the perimeter, just like not doing that much. He's just got to bring that mentality every night, both ends of the court. And I mean, there is a lot of pressure on him with this whole continuity thing. They're relying a lot on him to get a lot better and to make this leap. So there's pressure on him. And if like he doesn't, he'll be an easy scapegoat. Just like, well, this guy's a bust.
Right.
He's bad, and like that hurt. That would, and if they then look to trade him, like obviously the value's probably down if he doesn't take that step in his third season. So there is a lot of pressure on him to get better and help this team. If he does make a leap and he is actually an impact guy, that just, I mean, that kind of changes the trajectory on the Bulls a bit, and makes their future a bit more bright. Because I know some people, with where they are now with the Lonzo stuff, and like their core is a little aging with Vooch and DeMar, and some of the other roster construction questions. It's like, well, where is this team actually going? And they're out all these draft picks. Patrick Williams being really good would at least help change that outlook at least a little bit.
This is just going to step on the toes of what you said, but there's like and Scotty Barnes was, I want to make it clear, is already better than Patrick Williams.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Even when Scotty Barnes is aggressive on offense, the processing speed of what he's doing can be kind of slow and overly methodical. When Patrick Williams last year decided to do things like dribble into jumpers or attack the basket, like there was a very like accelerated processing speed there that made me wonder, this guy could do more than float around the perimeter on offense. I just wonder, and this is what you talked about, this is why I'm just echoing you, I don't know if you have the room to experiment with him on this team. Maybe with Lonzo out, you do, but even then, I don't know. Like, you're a team with immediate aspirations. You're not going to say, hey, Patrick Williams, you're going to run second units and you're going to orchestrate like 5 or 6 pick and rolls a game or something.
Right. Yeah, that is the tough part, because you're not in rebuild mode. You're trying to win now. But I think there still is some room to at least experiment a little bit in the regular season against those second units, maybe even against like bad teams or maybe in blowouts, stuff like that. You need to do something to develop him, because you can't. This guy is theoretically a huge part of your future. So you need to. It's a tough balancing act between doing all you can to win now and developing Patrick Williams for whether it's to be one of your future stars or for a possible trade chip for the deadline or next offseason or whatever.